Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we're going to unpack something that's quite literally a moving part of daily life for thousands of families: Missouri's yellow school buses. Whether your child is an early bird hopping on the bus every single morning, or you only use school transportation to save your sanity for special programs, understanding the gears turning behind the scenes is incredibly empowering. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating intersection of local choices and state rules that dictate how these transportation networks operate. It's this brilliant mix of policy, logistics, and safety, and I can't wait to guide you through it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Who gets to ride? 2. How is busing funded? 3. Safety and seatbelts. 4. Tracking ridership data. And 5. Practical tips for families. Let's get right to it. Section 1. Who gets to ride? Navigating eligibility. Figuring out if the bus is actually going to stop at your corner is usually the very first question for any family. In Missouri, the answer isn't a simple one-size-fits-all rule. It all starts with a very specific distance: 3.5. This is the crucial number you need to anchor in your mind. Under state law, school districts are mandated to provide transportation for students who live more than 3.5 miles from their school. That is the core, absolute baseline rule. But, as we're about to see, that isn't the whole story. And this brilliantly illustrates the core theme of how Missouri handles this. On one side, you have the state minimum, that non-negotiable obligation to transport kids living more than 3.5 miles away. But on the other side, local choice. Local school boards have the full flexibility to transport all students or students living much closer if they have the community support and the resources to pull it off. A sprawling rural district might only stick to the minimum because of those long, expensive routes, while a compact suburban district might offer rides to almost everyone. Moving on to Section 2. How is busing funded? Following the money. Following the money is absolutely crucial because those local choices are heavily dictated by state aid. But the state doesn't just write a blank check for every single mile a bus drives. It's highly targeted. State aid is based on eligible routes, so your standard home-to-school runs for students living a mile or more away, trips to accredited career education courses, and special education transportation. Interestingly, though, districts do have a bit of wiggle room. A local board can fund short hops, like picking up kids less than a mile away, if they figure out it creates no appreciable extra expense to the routes they're already running. So the crucial point here is understanding the strict distinction between allowable costs and ineligible miles. The state funds standard, daily educational transport. But trips for the football team, marching band travel, class field trips? Yeah, those are considered ineligible miles. The state is definitely not funding those. This completely clarifies why districts have to meticulously track their routes and keep totally separate ledgers for daily transport versus extracurriculars. All right, Section 3, Safety and Seatbelts, Protecting the Ride. Protecting that ride is the absolute highest priority. For example, look at the number 500. This is a critical safety metric in Missouri. School bus stops must be established no less than 500 feet apart from each other. Furthermore, those pre-warning amber flashing lights you see on top of the bus, drivers are required to activate those exactly 500 feet before reaching a designated stop. It's all about ensuring maximum visibility and giving other drivers plenty of time to react. Now let's look at 75. Route design isn't just about stops, it's about the time spent sitting on the bus. Missouri actually recognizes a hardship transfer process for unreasonable ride times, and the benchmark they use is a ride lasting greater than 75 minutes. It's a really empathetic policy, especially acknowledging the heavy transportation burdens faced by those sprawling rural districts. No kid wants to sit on a bus for an hour and a half. Let's see how this builds, because the physical bus is only as safe as the person driving it and the mechanics maintaining it. Drivers must meet strict licensing standards, including a specific school bus endorsement. If the vehicle holds 16 or more people, federal law kicks in. They need a commercial driver's license. But it doesn't stop there. Operators have to conduct and document daily pre-trip mechanical inspections before a single student even boards. Plus, the state conducts rigorous highway patrol maintenance inspections. It's a massive web of accountability. Which brings us to the question I hear from parents all the time. Do Missouri school buses need seatbelts? It's a perfectly logical question, right? We buckle up in our cars, so why wouldn't we mandate traditional seatbelts on a school bus? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the answer lies in a piece of engineering policy called compartmentalization. Missouri's Education Department explains that instead of traditional lap belts, buses use this passive restraint approach. By designing the seating area with those tall, tightly spaced, heavily padded seats, the bus creates a protective compartment, a sort of cocoon for the student. During a crash, that design absorbs the energy, effectively reducing the need for the kind of seatbelts we rely on in our cars. Section 4. Tracking ridership data. The math behind the bus. Moving to the administrative side, school transportation is incredibly data-driven. Districts literally have to count the kids on the bus, but they don't just do this randomly. They report regular ridership on exact dates, the second Wednesday of October and the second Wednesday of February. These precise snapshots in time are exactly what the state uses to calculate that all-important transportation aid. So if your child is on the bus on those specific Wednesdays, it directly impacts the district's budget. Talk about pressure to catch the bus, right? Finally, Section 5, Practical Tips for Families. Your daily checklist. Knowing the policy is fantastic, but how do we apply this to make your mornings smoother? Well, I highly recommend using this preparation checklist. Confirm your exact stop location and pickup time directly with your district. Make absolutely sure your kids know their bus number. Proactively ask about procedures for weather delays. And if your child has special transportation needs, coordinate that with the school early so they can get the state funding aligned. And definitely review safe behavior at home. The bus design is safe, but student behavior is just as critical. Teach your kids to arrive on time, always stand well back from the curb, cross the street only when the driver explicitly directs them to, and most importantly, never ever distract the driver. Their focus needs to be 100% on the road and those 500-foot safety buffers. If you take away just one thought from our entire explainer today, let it be this. Treat school busing as a local service with statewide rules behind it. The state provides the safety standards and the minimum requirements, but it is your local school board that ultimately shapes the specific daily ride your child experiences. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Have you checked your local district's transportation rules lately? Because local choices are always evolving based on budgets and community needs. Take a few minutes to check out your district's website, maybe give their transportation office a call, and see exactly how these fascinating policies are playing out right in your own neighborhood. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you next time.